How's it going guys, Chris here, bringing you another guide for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And today we're going to be focusing on the TAQ-56, a fairly strong close-range assault rifle unlocked at rank 17. So the TAQ-56 is indeed based on the SCAR-L, a pretty iconic firearm from Belgium that's part of a family of automatic weapon systems, with this one in particular being the light assault rifle type, hence the L designation in the name. It first came about in 2004 when a new combat rifle was requested for the US Special Forces, available in different calibers, and unlike quite a lot of modern weapons today, the FN SCAR is one of a kind, without being based on any previous designs. It featured a modular system, so basically the different variants all had the same basic layout configuration and optional attachments, which could all be adapted in a matter of minutes to suit the mission at hand. This idea was to provide Special Forces with different options, including short-barreled CQC variants better suited for urban warfare, to a long-barreled sniper variant for engaging targets from afar, all featuring the same basic design, meaning weapon knowledge and handling of the SCAR system could be transferable over its different variants. With the TAQ-56 being based on the SCAR-L model, this one was chambered for the 5.56 x 45mm NATO cartridge. Not quite as powerful as its other variant, the SCAR-H, but generally a slightly smaller, lightweight version that typically holds more ammo. The SCAR-L was adopted by US Special Forces in 2009 as the Mark 16 Mod 0, though it was a bit bulky and cumbersome compared to the M4, so only a limited number was in service. With that said, this variant is still used worldwide, being a general issue rifle in its native country of Belgium. So taking a look at the TAQ-56's stats, you're going to be dealing the maximum damage of 34 for an upper body shot, equating to a free shot kill up to 28 meters, which actually gives the gun a fair bit of bite within those earlier distances, essentially acting like headshots here. Hits to the arms, legs or stomach however, will nullify some of this extra power, basically putting those damage stats a bit more in line with some of the other assault rifles, which generally take more shots to kill. This is a bad thing, because most of those other said assault rifles fire faster, therefore giving them superior kill times. Though providing you aim for the chest and head, the TAQ-56 will often come out on top. This same thing can be said for power over distance too, as shots to the chest beyond 55 meters will dish out the minimum damage of 24, which is a bit higher than average, though can still only result in quicker kill times on enemies that have already been weakened. And despite only shooting at the steady speed of 625 RPM, which isn't exactly very fast, it'll still put players down in less bullets than a few of the other guns, like the M4, the STB 5.56, and the Lachmann 5.56, generally giving the TAQ-56 some fairly decent kill times overall when aiming at the upper body. But just like in close quarters, limb and lower body shots are going to throw you a bit of a curveball at longer distances too, reducing the weapon's power over range, sometimes making the gun feel a bit less consistent. By conducting a little full auto firing test from 10 meters, we can see that the TAQ-56 is subjected to quite a lot of vertical recoil, especially for the first 12 or so shots. A bit of random horizontal movement can lead to a few bullets straying off target, but generally your line of fire is mainly going to drift upwards at the start. Shot groupings do seem to be a bit closer together the longer your mag dump, though you're going to notice that the recoil will shift the TAQ-56's fire more so to the right, with that upwards kick being far less pronounced, resulting in better stability, but accuracy perhaps taking a hit due to more rightwards drifting. The weapon's steadier fire rate will help to make it seem slightly easier to control, with the recoil building up at a slower pace than quite a few of the other guns on offer. And generally speaking, in most fights over close to medium ranges, this recoil pattern shouldn't really give you too many issues, perhaps being a bit more problematic if you're taking on players further away, with that trigger pulled down for quite a while. Muzzle velocity and hip fire spread is practically the same as the other assault rifles, given a fine enough balance for most mid-ranged engagements, having better hip fire accuracy but slower travelling bullets than the LMGs, though generally faster bullets but worse hip fire than the SMGs. And with the TAQ-56 being at its deadliest within 28 meters, this allows it to perform well here within those early mid-ranges, with a fairly decent level of accuracy. Just like the rest of the base game assault rifles, the TAQ-56 has a 30 round capacity, but because it fires at a steadier pace than a lot of the others, and can often kill in less shots, those magazines might feel a little bit more efficient, in comparison to some of those faster shooting guns like the M4 and STB 5.56 for example, which might be more prone to wasting ammo, due to their automatic fire being tricky to moderate. Not only might those magazines seem to last a bit longer as a result, but they can also be reloaded at a really snappy pace too, providing you do so with unspent rounds left over, as tactical reloads are only going to cost you 2.55 seconds, the quickest of the base game assault rifles, matching up with the cast-off 7.62s. So in regards to keeping you in the fight, with enough ammo to get you through most situations, the TAQ-56 does a pretty good job, capable of taking on several opponents one after the other, while getting you back into the action faster with those tactical mag swaps. Empty reloads aren't quite as speedy, though still nothing to really worry about, only taking about half a second longer. Aside from the normal magazines though, general mobility is somewhat standard, not really doing anything special when it comes to movement, such as aiming down sights or sprint to fire speeds, though at the same time, nothing really all that bad either that's going to cause you any concerns. Let's talk a little bit about those Gunsmith attachments. The TAQ-56 only has a few barrels, mirroring its real life counterpart. The smaller 12-inch barrel is probably a better fit for run and gun situations, whereas the 17.5-inch barrel gives you extra range instead. If you want a nice balance, just go without one of these, which is a pretty safe bet. With the TAQ-56 suiting gunfights up to those early mid-ranges, a close to mid-range optical attachment might make it seem easier to aim over this distance. I probably wouldn't advise anything with too strong of a zoom, just because it might make the recoil feel a bit more exaggerated, though the iron sights do a decent job by themselves, so if you'd rather favour a quicker ADS speed instead, just leave it at default. As for your stock attachment, the TV-PLX-434 is a pretty good one to stabilise your aim, helping to counter the sway of the gun, thus allowing it to be more precise without any particularly big trade-offs, only affecting your movement speed. Though the TV-X-Line Pro might be the one to go for if you want to optimise close quarter combat effectiveness, giving you boosts to movement and ADS speeds instead, at the expense of a bit more recoil. With the TAQ-56 performing at its best within earlier ranges, a laser sight or flashlight of your choosing might suit it well, all depending on whether you want to buff mobility or increase hipfire accuracy. Though with chest shots specifically being more potent, and with hipfire placement being a bit random, an attachment that boosts ADS speeds and general movement instead of hipfire might just be the better option for this gun in particular. Another attachment that'll do this too is the demo clean shot grip, at the expense of some extra recoil, which might be worth sacrificing if you intend to play more aggressively, sticking to shorter sightlines. Otherwise, the default grip gives you a fine enough balance as it is. I probably wouldn't bother going for an extended magazine, as the TAQ-56 does a good job at handling with ammo as it is, with those standard 30 round mags, fast reloads, and steady rate of fire. Looking at the muzzles, because the gun's got quite a bit of vertical recoil and some random horizontal movements, I'd probably recommend going for one that directly affects this, something like the RF Crown or Fulcrum Pro, which are pretty decent choices to generally improve accuracy and stability, helping over mid to long ranges. And lastly, the underbarrel attachments, with a hell of a lot to pick from. This comes down to whether you're trying to boost close range effectiveness or give the gun a boost over distance, though obviously I'd go for an option that best matches what you've already picked. Most of these choices actually lower your mobility in favour of better hipfire or recoil control, so if you intend to be aggressive and prefer better aim down sights and movement speeds, then you might be better off giving the underbarrels a miss. So anyway, in conclusion, the TAQ-56 might not exactly be a bullet hose, but don't let that fool you into thinking that it's going to be rubbish within those shorter sightlines, as that's where it can actually perform at its best, giving you some of the quickest kill times of all the assault rifles up to 28 meters. But there's a catch, only if you can land your shots on your target's chest or head. Hitting the lower body or a limb will increase the kill time, often putting you at a slight disadvantage against other weapons, so there can be an element of chance at times in gunfights, leading to some inconsistencies, especially with an opponent's arms sometimes covering their chest, denying you of those snappy free hit kills. With all that said, those damage values aren't exactly bad, and that slower fire rate can at least make the gun feel a bit steadier and easier to control, along with its ammo expenditure easier to manage in those 30 round magazines. So despite shooting a tad slower, at least it's not all bad news, because when ammo reliability is concerned, the TAQ-56 will often do a pretty good job at keeping you engaged with the action, especially with it having some of the fastest tactical reloads, which is great for topping up your reserves in between enemy encounters. Vertical kick can make the gun feel a bit jumpy, though within its optimal range, this probably won't really be too noticeable, possibly becoming more of a problem against players in the distance, forcing more shots off target. In saying that, this might also go in your favour, pushing your line of fire towards your target's chest and face, if you're aiming below the upper body. as generally when using the TAQ-56, you're going to have the best results when aiming higher, potentially giving it some pretty competitive kill times within those earlier ranges. That's it for this one guys, hope you enjoyed the video and learned a few things along the way. Give us a thumbs up on your way out if you did, and if you're not subscribed yet, then there's no time like the present, especially if you want to see more guides just like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you in that next one.